Dear friends and guests of the channel, don't forget to put your super mega cool likes and comments. Don't forget to crowd up and please your friends with this video. Sincerely, Fine out. Have a great day, everyone. From Tutankhamun to Etzi, top 10 archaeological finds. Sometimes significant discoveries are made entirely by accident. Priam's treasure has caused such a stir in Germany that archaeology, which until now had been handled by amateurs, has become a real science. Contents: 1. Tutankhamun's tomb. 2. The Terracotta Army. 3. The oldest intact wreck. 4. Dead Sea Scrolls. 5. Pompeii. 6. Rosetta Stone. 7. Nebra Celestial Disc. 8. Etzi. 9. Sulawesi warthog. 10. The Treasure of Priam. Some of the discoveries in our top 10 archaeological finds were preceded by years of painstaking excavation work. Others were discovered by accident. But one thing is certain, all of the discoveries from the top 10 archaeological finds have caused a sensation around the world and have greatly advanced science. 1. Tutankhamun's tomb. Within 5 years, British archaeologist Howard Carter was looking for the tomb of Tutankhamun in the Valley of the Kings. The pharaoh, about whose existence there was very little evidence. In 1922, just before Carter was about to give up the search, he finally stumbled upon a tomb sunk in the sand, more than 3,200 years old. The treasure it held took the Britons' breath away. Never before had archaeologists discovered a pharaonic tomb almost untouched by grave robbers. Carter's find, which rightfully holds a leading place in the top 10 archaeological finds, gave the world a unique insight into the splendor that surrounded the ancient Egyptian rulers. 2. The Terracotta Army. In 1974, Chinese farmers building a well near the city of Xi'an came across fragments of a clay soldier. As it turned out later, a whole army of terracotta soldiers was hidden underground. Almost life-size, armed exactly like the original, with individual facial features. They guarded the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huangdi, who unified the empire 200 years before Christ and built much of the Great Wall. The unique find provided historians with information about the military system of the time. But even today, not all the secrets of the mausoleum are revealed. Large parts of the army are still buried, and the mound itself is still untouched. 3. The oldest intact wreck. Incredibly, this discovery was only made in 2018. A team from Britain's Southampton University set out to map the seafloor off the coast of Bulgaria. At a depth of 2,000 meters, they stumbled upon this intact hulk of a ship, which the researchers believed was once a Greek merchant galleys. Because of the lack of oxygen at this depth, the hull, mast, ship's benches and rudders were completely intact. The ship, which is about 2,400 years old, gives historians a new insight into seafaring in antiquity. However, the ship will likely never be raised, but will remain in its deep water grave. 4. Dead Sea Scrolls. In 1947, 2 shepherd boys discovered numerous clay jars in a cave on the western shore of the Dead Sea in Israel, in which some 1,000 ancient scrolls were hidden. Among them are the oldest known copies of the Bible from around the time of Christ's birth. One theory is that the Jews hid the scrolls in caves to keep them safe from the Roman invaders. 11 of the scrolls are completely intact. The rest resemble a jigsaw puzzle. Researchers are still busy compiling the so-called Qumran scrolls, named for the place where they were found. 5. Pompeii. When the volcano Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it buried the Roman city of Pompeii under a meter layer of hot ash. Its existence was gradually forgotten. It was not until 1748 that new excavations were conducted at the site. In the next century, many well-preserved ruins were discovered under the ash. A frozen snapshot of the city that still showed the daily life of the Romans. Volcanic ash also trapped some 2,000 former inhabitants. Their bodies decomposed over the centuries, but the resulting cavities were filled with plaster by researchers. These casts give today's visitors an eerie picture of the last moments of Pompeii. 6. The Rosetta Stone. This fortuitous discovery, made by Napoleonic soldiers in the Egyptian city of Rosetta in 1799, was an incredible stroke of luck for all Egyptology. On a fragment of a large stone stele was carved the same text in 3 different scripts: Greek, Demotic, and Egyptian script used in everyday life. Until about 450 AD, and hieroglyphic, which occurs on many monuments. Until now, researchers have not been able to unravel the code of the hieroglyphs. Only the translation into Greek, which was found on the fragment, brought long-awaited success. However, only 23 years later, the Frenchman Jean-François Champollion made a breakthrough. According to the story, one day in 1822, he ran into his brother's office, shouted, "I understand," and fainted with excitement. 7. Nebra celestial disc. Finding a round bronze disc is reminiscent of a thriller. In 1999, two looters found an unusual object buried in the forest floor of a mountain in Saxony, Anhalt. The two men suspected that the disc was of value and sold it to fence sellers. When they offered the object to the museum for sale, police struck. The disc is believed to be about 3,600 years old. Researchers interpret the gold dots and figures on the surface as suns, crescents, and stars. The 7 closely spaced dots represent the Pleiades, so the theory goes. This makes the Nebra sky disk the oldest concrete depiction of the starry sky that has been found to date. Today, it can be seen in the State Museum of Prehistory in Halle an der Saale. 8. Etzi. On September 19, 1991, a couple was hiking in the snow-covered Ötztal Alps in South Tyrol when, at an altitude of 3,200 meters, they saw parts of a human corpse sticking out of the ice. Contrary to their initial speculation, it was not a climber who had recently died in an accident. Research showed that the mummy had been there for 5,300 years. This makes Etzi, as it quickly became known, the oldest mummy ever found. The body itself and the remains of the man's belongings provide researchers with valuable clues about life in the Copper Age. 9. A warthog from the island of Sulawesi. This rock painting has no official, beautiful-sounding name, but it absolutely deserves its place on our top 10 archaeological finds list. The detailed drawing of a bristly pig with 2 handprints behind it is the oldest known depiction of a living creature to date. At least 45,500 years ago, someone on the Indonesian island of Sulawesi painted it on a cave wall. The ochre-colored animal was discovered in 2017. 2 or 3 other pigs apparently also belong to the brush of the same artist, but they are badly damaged and barely recognizable. The second oldest figurative rock painting was also discovered in Indonesia. Therefore, scientists are already speculating whether human creativity developed in this region in the first place. 10. The Treasure of Priam. The search for the legendary Troy led the German merchant Heinrich Schliemann to the west coast of Anatolia in the late 19th century. The war between the Trojans and the Greeks, the trick with the wooden horse, the fall of the proud city. The Greek writer Homer described all this in detail in his epic poem, the Iliad. But exactly where Troy was located was unknown. Schliemann gets indications that this place could be the Heiserlei Hill. For 2 years, he excavates there without much regard for archaeological methods, and at first without much success. In 1873, he finally finds several pieces of a magnificent gold jewel, and convinced that the treasure once belonged to the Homeric king Priam, he secretly transports it to Germany with the help of his wife. A few years later, it turns out that the treasure is too old to have come from Priam. The ruler, so it is believed today, must have lived around 1250 BC. But Schliemann probably did discover ancient Troy in the mount. He simply dug his way past the right layer of settlement. However, the Treasure of Priam caused such a stir in Germany that archaeology, which until now had been done by amateurs, became a real science. Dear friends and guests of the channel, don't forget to put your super mega cool likes and comments. Don't forget to crowd up and please your friends with this video. Sincerely, Fine out. Have a great day, everyone.